Welcome to This is Futbol. Bienvenidos a This is Futbol. Another Tuesday, fellas. Another episode. It's good to be back. And let's just get right into the topics of the day. Why don't we? So we're going to get right into our moment of the weekend. We had a lot going on this weekend. We are going to talk about debut our new segment called USMNT. We're going to talk about Champions League. We're going to talk about U.S. men's national coaching candidates as the pool heats up with the Jesse Marsh firing. And we're going to talk about some Inter Miami transfer news, just like we all want to know, and about the scrimmage over the weekend. And while we do mention that, let's go to our resident Fabricio Romalo.
What's up, fellas?
He had mentioned he had some transfer news, Inter Miami transfer news for us earlier this week.
Oof. I got one transfer news that it's gonna be very, very interesting. It's a player that it's not gonna come now, so just so that everyone knows, it's gonna be for the summertime. But it's one player. I'm gonna give a hint. I'm gonna give a little hint. I think I gave it online the other day, but the hint is as follows. This player has played in League One. This player has played in Premier League. This player has played in La Liga. And he has also played in Serie A. So a little later on, we're going to reveal the name and talk a little bit about it and debate with each other.
All right,
I'm
nice.
excited.
Well,
I'm excited.
I did see your tweet earlier this week that he was a lefty. I mentioned Messi. I see some other people mention some other names back. We had some folks comment in, but everything you say, I'm real excited to talk about. I'm real excited to hear. Hey, let's get into the moment of the weekend.
Let's go. And no, let's not forget about everyone. Everyone that's on the chat right now, comment. We'll put you out there.
Absolutely. We want to hear from you guys. So my moment of the weekend, although there was many, like I said.
Whoa. Oh. We can't say what's up to Socio. We can't say what's up to our Arsenal supporter that they're still top of the league.
Sorry about that, Socio. Sorry about that.
I'm wearing black because it's been a while since I've suffered a loss. It was hard. It was a tough weekend. But we're back this weekend against Brentford, as you can see. We're going to bounce back. Tottenham did us a favor. Only time I've ever gone for them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oof.
Hey, and they did us the favor. Look at that.
Oof.
But
I mentioned that live forever. You know that, right?
Hey,
Socio went for...
That's it. That's the one and only time I'll ever say it.
And Socio went for Tottenham, so we'll see what the Arsenal followers have to say on Twitter about that later.
You go, throw me under the bus.
There you go. So, what do you say, Fabricio? We ready to go into the moment of the weekend?
Let's go. Go get your moment of the weekend out.
I'm so excited. That's why I've already said it 3 times, but I'm so excited to talk about my moment of the weekend. It's not the Jesse Marsh firing, like I mentioned earlier. My moment of the weekend is the Uruguayan U20 national team has qualified to the World Cup in May in Indonesia.
Here we go again. Shocker, right? Shocking.
Celeste, vamos arriba, la Celeste, Uruguay nomás, vamos arriba.
I think if they gave me $1 for every single sentence that Danny said Uruguay on it, I'll be a billionaire.
I'll be a billionaire. Filthy rich. We'd be filthy rich since we've known him.
That's how you know I love my country, man. That's how you know I love my country. But I'll tell you this, man. It's a big thing for those young lads to be going to Indonesia to represent your country, and I think they put on a good under-20 tournament. And maybe we'll get into that with our guest a little bit later if he wants to.
Absolutely.
So let's hear your moment of the weekend, Socio.
To lighten the spirits up, first and foremost, prayers and shout out to the victims and all the families out there in Turkey and in Syria with what happened with the earthquake. big support.
Amen.
I've been
Definitely.
looking at to see trustworthy because people try to use these times to like scam and stuff, but to see para mandar and to help out over there because well, hey, the videos I've seen. But to lighten the mood, Christian Atsu, a player who was out there on loan, was missing for, if I remember correctly, 20 hours. They found him under the rubble y todo eso. He's now hospitalized, but thank the universe, thank God, whatever it is you believe in, rocks, crystals, all that good stuff, he's alive and well. So
Amen.
that's some good news.
Yeah,
Out
it's
of all of
definitely
that, that's happened. But
definitely great
again,
news.
thoughts and prayers to everybody out there.
Definitely. That's between all the bad news that we've been getting from this place, from
Yeah,
this
man.
tragic incident,
little-
with this earthquake, those little details, at least,
Little light of hope, yeah, man.
yeah, definitely,
But
definitely.
good thing. That's my moment of the week.
And I think that's fantastic, Socio, and I don't think that's a great moment. I think that's really that's just a magical moment.
Yeah.
Really, you think somebody is missing, somebody, the family must have thought he was gone.
20 hours.
That you would think, me as a father having a child, thinking my child is gone for 20 hours, and he just shows up. That to me is a magical moment.
He
So
has a family, bro. No,
absolutely.
just imagine. Oof. Pero yeah, man. Prayers up to everybody out there.
Definitely,
Absolutely.
definitely.
All right, Nico.
My moment of the week. It's a clip. I want to show you guys a clip, and I want to say a few words afterwards.
Go for it.
Great message to everyone that's fighting today or will fight later. So yeah, just some hope, some courage, and that's it. The day afters will be always better.
So that's my moment of the week. The reason why I wanted to pick that moment of the week is because I feel like it's a fantastic story, from Haller, going through what he went through this past 6 months, and being able to, say himself, that he's a cancer survivor, and then come back on the pitch, and to do it the way he did it, to do it, not only scoring a winning goal for this team, but also, grabbing the support from the yellow wall, everyone together, showing unity, and myself, as you guys know, a cancer survivor myself, it's something that it makes me proud to see those type of moments, and also
beautiful.
Be able to show awareness, that there's reasons to live, and there's reasons to see each day, as a positive, day. So that was my moment of the week, guys.
Beautiful.
Prayers to you, brother. Prayers to you. And honestly, I can't wait to get back on the pitch with you.
Amen.
We
We'll
got
definitely
together.
do it.
We got
We're almost
together
there.
with the boys. I know we got together with the boys on New Year's Eve, and Nico was there supporting from the sidelines. But we know very soon we're gonna have him back with us, and that day we're gonna have not only are we gonna have a big game, but we're gonna have a big asado.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So let's get into some more of our topics before we get into our guest. Our resident Fabricio Romano will let us know when our guest is here or when he's ready to come in.
Good to go.
Oh, he's good to go. So let's bring in our guest. I want to really this gentleman needs no introduction. I'm going to give him one anyways, but he's got he's done 24 Champions Leagues and called 24 Champions League finals. He's done 10 Europa Leagues and Europa League finals, 7 World Cups, Copa Americas. You guys get the picture. This guy's absolutely done it all. The one and only Luis Omar Tapia. We want to welcome you to the This Is Football podcast.
Welcome. Thank you, brother.
How's everything?
Thank you so much for being on. So, we want to try a new segment with you that we've never tried before. It's called Yes en Uno. It's a segment where we ask you 10 questions in 1 minute or less. So they're going to be pretty easy and pretty quick. So if you're ready to try, let's give it a go.
Let's do it.
So first and foremost, where are you from?
Chile.
All right. And what's the highest level of soccer you've played?
First Division University.
All right. Were you any good?
Division 1.
So what's your most favorite goal that you've ever called?
The Zidane in the final of the Champions League in Glasgow.
Unbelievable goal.
The volley.
Unbelievable goal. And if there was one dream match that you were able to call, what would be that dream match?
2005 Liverpool Milan.
Unbelievable. So
You
you
know why
already
I
called
tell
the
you why,
match.
though? But I tell you why. Because that day I played as a 9.5. Because to my left I had Diego Armando Maradona as an analyst, and to my right it was Mario Alberto Kempes, 2 number 10s, 2 world champions.
Wow.
An amazing story.
Incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
An amazing story.
So forget about the game. Just having Maradona and Kempes next to me, it was a story.
So you don't even have a dream match yet to call. You've already called it. That's what's unbelievable about it. And those two guys, I mean, wow. Well, my last question to wrap it up before Socio gets his couple questions in is, what's your favorite restaurant in Miami?
Oof.
It's not in Miami. It's in Western La Perla.
Epa,
La
La Perla.
Perla. Okay.
It's the best. It's the best Peruvian restaurant in South Florida.
Okay.
Oof,
I'm gonna have to
okay.
try
We're
it.
gonna have to try it out. We're gonna have to try it out.
To try it out.
Saludos a La Perla.
Shout out. Alright. Mr. A ver, my first one. Favorite interview.
Kofi Annan, the General Secretary of United Nations in 2002.
Oh.
The reason is because Real Madrid invited me. Florentino Perez was presenting the Kofi Annan with a stadium made out of silver, and they invited me to do interviews with the players and Florentino and Di Stefano, Butragueño, and all that. And then what I did is, like a few days before the interview, before me going to the United Nations, I called the communication department. I said, I would like to interview Kofi Annan. And they said, well, he doesn't do sports interviews. And I go, well, but he plays soccer in his country and in Division I in the United States.
Yeah.
So I think he loves soccer. So United Nations said, okay, we'll give you 10 minutes. And I did that interview with him. Let's say me sitting right here with him.
Yeah.
And in front of me, it was the whole team of Real Madrid and Florentino and Di Stefano and all those guys. They were watching me at the interview.
Any nerves?
What?
Any nerves?
No.
No?
Not
Not even
anymore.
with that audience?
Cold-blooded, just like when he calls games, cold-blooded.
I like it. Okay, so other side of that coin of that question, if you can be candid if you want, don't have to name names if you don't want either. Least favorite interview you had to do.
The least favorite interview that I had to do.
Yeah. Be it for whatever XY reason, doesn't not because it was bad or to you personally.
You know, I will have to say, because it was very difficult. This kid, God, I forgot the name now, which is going up. He played for the Galaxy. That he came out and said that he was homosexual. Robbie.
I forget his last name.
Well, Robbie.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
his story came like 6 months before. Robbie Rogers. 6 months after I did this interview, was 7 years ago, and we did it inside the locker rooms of LA Galaxy, and I was asked to do that interview because he wanted to do something in Spanish, and then chose me to do the interview, and it was tough in a way of asking the questions. I read his book. I believe it's like 300 pages, and I read it in 3.5 days.
Wow.
So I took a lot of the questions from his book.
Nice.
And I feel proud that I ended up doing it, but it was difficult, you know.
Yeah.
Because
so it was an uncomfortable moment. It wasn't the least favorite, but it was an uncomfortable interview.
It was uncomfortable, but because the questions needed to be
deep.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, so, and then after he answered, there were follow-up questions that they became more uncomfortable, you know. So, but in a way, it was a very good interview at the end.
Nice. Okay, let's bring a
Two
little
more, huh?
lighthearted.
Two more quick ones, and then we get to topics.
Quick, a lighthearted one. Do you play FIFA on PlayStation or?
No, I only watch my grandsons when they
Okay.
do that. I can call the games.
And then this last one, because as you can see, for you, I put this one up there today. I can see you have.
Like this one?
Yes, beautiful.
That's
Favorite
from Fernando
champions.
Redondo.
Oof. Oof.
When they
Jugaba
won the
algo, ¿eh?
No
seventh,
cualquiera,
after
not just
32
any
years
years.
that they won the seventh, I got that one from him.
So keeping it there, and because I see La Orejona back there. Favorite
It's right
Champions
here.
League Madrid moment.
The what?
Your favorite Madrid moment in the Champions League.
My
Your favorite
moment,
out of all of them.
Lisbon, 93rd minute, on the 7th corner. You know, I have a saying in Spanish, el séptimo de la buena suerte. You know, the 7th for good luck.
Yeah.
And it was the 7th corner kick when Sergio Ramos headed the ball into the net to tie the score.
What a great moment. What a great
Beautiful
moment.
moment. All right.
That's one of the most fantastic moments.
There you go. So
I was in a bar full of colchoneros in New York City. I remember that moment, and they were all celebrating. And Sergio Ramos headers that ball in, and I've never heard a bar go so quiet in my entire life.
Wow.
It was a tough one for them.
And I didn't have any association to either team, so I just kept sipping my mouth, and it didn't matter to me. So,
Yeah. Wow.
Let's get into it, Danny. Let's keep getting into it.
So let's get into the Champions League. We have Champions League coming back next week. We have some interesting, interesting head-to-heads. If you want to put the share on the screens, Nico, the draws. Yeah. So we have Real Madrid versus Liverpool, Manchester versus Leipzig, Benfica versus Bruges, Milan Tottenham, Napoli Eintracht, Dortmund versus Chelsea, Porto Inter, PSG Bayern. For me, I'm most interested in seeing the Real Madrid Liverpool. Why? Most of my friends like both of those teams, and I can't wait to see what's going on in that chat. I don't know. What about you, Luis? What about you, Luis?
You know, the Liverpool Real Madrid is probably they're going to play with crutches.
Exactly what I was gonna say.
Both teams.
Yeah.
Both teams, not just Liverpool.
Both teams are like in the same shape, so I think it's going to be a good game. You know, because part of the history, it falls on the shoulders of both teams. Liverpool needs to improve. They need to show something better. And Real Madrid, we don't know what's going to happen because they play tomorrow, and if they win, they end up playing Saturday, and then they end up playing the Champions League. So how are they going to? Who's going to show up? We don't know because, like, for example, for this club FIFA World Cup, they called up 6 players from the Castilla team, including the third goalkeeper, Canizares. Canizares. He's only 20 years old. He's never been with the first team. So we have to wait and see what happens. But I think the game of that week, of this round, it's got to be Paris Saint-Germain Bayern, because Mbappe is not going to be there, Neymar is not going to be there, and Bayern it's coming up very strong because of all the new talent that they got into the squad, and I think they're doing that because they really want to go as far as they can, and it's one of my favorite teams to make it to the final.
Yeah, and now staying on that matchup, I wanted to talk a little bit about PSG because PSG is the type of team where, you know, they were built to win this tournament. You know, it hasn't been there. You know, they've made it to a final, but it almost seems like this year has to be their year, right?
Well, we talk about the same thing last year, the year before, and the previous years, and we said the same thing about Manchester City. You know, and I always said, I don't care how much money you invest, if you don't buy the right players, if you don't have the right coaching staff, and if you don't have the right administration, you are not going to win the Champions League. It doesn't matter how much money you invest. Look how long it took the Chelsea, the Russian owner, Abramovich, right? How long did it take him to win the Champions League? It took him, 10 years?
Yeah. 10 years.
You know, after
Yeah,
all
over
those
10 years.
millions of dollars he spent, it took him like 10 years. But I don't think that Paris Saint-Germain or Manchester City are teams built to win the Champions League. I think they're teams to win their local leagues, their cups, and to show off, you know, and show up, and a lot of marketing, and all the big stars and all that. It's nice.
And why is that? Why is that? Do you feel like they don't have the pedigree? Like, for example, like we know that Real Madrid has that Champions League pedigree where no matter their circumstances that they're going through, they're always going to show up in this type of tournament. Do you feel like they lack that type of pedigree into these tournaments?
Yeah, but for that you need to buy players that they're born with that. And how do you get them? You have to be very selective. You got to have a good amount of scouts. You know, Real Madrid doesn't just buy anybody. They buy for the future. They buy for thinking that what are we going to do in the next 5 years? Barcelona one time did the same thing, and they won it all, you know, with Pep Guardiola. They were buying young players thinking about the future. The thing is that the team got old. You know, that's why we want to see the Barcelona that we saw 5 years ago, until 5 years ago. And then when you keep switching and changing and you don't have a mythology that you want to keep, that you want to build a structure, a winning structure into a soccer institution, you're going to go year after year spending money, and you're not going to win the Champions League.
Mm-hmm. Good point there. Good point there.
You know, one of the one of the matchups that I wanted to kind of get into, and only because they've made a lot of noise during the transfer window, is the Chelsea Dortmund matchup. Chelsea made a lot of noise, spending a lot of money, and they're playing a Dortmund squad. No, I know, but they spent a lot of money, and they're playing a Dortmund squad.
On wingers.
But I'm just saying, they spent a lot of money. Let's see, you know, I'm curious to know, you know, what do you guys think against Dortmund? What do you guys think is going to happen? I think it's an interesting matchup. I think Dortmund, I haven't seen a lot of them this year. I've seen more of Chelsea than Dortmund. But I don't know. I'm curious. What do you guys think?
I think Dortmund will be dangerous now, especially with the comeback of Haller. That whole story, that whole dynamism they're going to have is going to be incredible. And again, those fans playing over there is different. And Chelsea on paper, or the players they have, beautiful. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a little mad, and I think Mudryk is going to hit. But that team is all over the place. You know, they don't have a set midfield. The defense is good. I'll give them that. Their defense is great.
The way I see Chelsea is actually they got 12 new players for the beginning of the season. Some from the summer to now, 12 new players. They spent $800 million. That's a lot of money. Did you buy the right talent for the team? You change coaches, you know, and then you go out and buy players. There's a lot of people that they question the ability of this coach to take Chelsea to the next level. I think they have a great team. They have big names, but you need a bigger name to guide them, to take them to what Chelsea used to be. You know what I mean? A winning team, play fancy, score a lot of goals. And I don't think they can do that with this coach. I don't think that he is a coach for Chelsea. I think he's a coach for any other team from mid-table down. From mid-table up, I think they're too big for him.
Definitely.
A good point I see there quickly on the chat. They spent more money than all the other top Euro leagues combined.
Yeah.
Chelsea's ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, now, last question, and then we'll change some topics. Going into the matchups, which matchup do you feel, Luis, that it might be a 50-50 matchup and that we might see a surprise in that specific matchup?
Leipzig. I think, everybody talks about Manchester City. So Manchester City, remember what happened just 24 hours ago, okay, in England. They're under investigation. Now it already hit Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola is getting mad in front of the press, in press conferences.
How
Well,
dare you
is this
ask
going to affect also the players? There was a list of players that apparently are getting paid from outside of
secret
Manchester
accounts.
City group. So is this going to have a negative effect on the players? We don't know. We have to wait until the weekend when they play in the English Premier. Then we'll see what happens during the middle of the week in Champions League. But
Yeah,
I
it
think
almost seems.
if there is a team that can surprise on the home and away, I think it will be Leipzig.
Yeah, definitely, and especially because Man City, they can fly at any moment. They can just switch it on. But it hasn't been a good season for them. They, even though they picked up Haaland, and everyone thought that they were gonna just destroy about everyone in the Premier League, they've been very, very inconsistent.
Everyone thought he's one of the everyones. He's one of the everyones. He said Haaland's coming over. They're gonna.
What do you think about that, Luis? What do you think about that? That signing. That everyone thought that he was gonna. Even though he has the numbers, because the numbers are there. He's gonna break the Premier League record in goals, but the team hasn't played the same.
Yeah, but it had to change because Pep Guardiola was not used to playing with a 9. Now he's a straightforward 9, play inside the area. So Pep Guardiola had to adapt and change some of his tactics. And here's the thing: since he left Borussia Dortmund, I know he has scored a lot of goals. I know he can break all kinds of records in the English Premier League. He can do a bunch of things that are not many players can do. But nobody's talking about the injury part of Haaland. Ever since he left Dortmund, he's been injured more times than the time he spent in Germany. So that's one of the things that we have to consider. What's the problem? Why, at such a young age, a player with all his quality is getting injured? With today's technology and everything that all the teams at this level that they spend money in science, somebody's got to come up with a question: why is he getting, injured, and why it doesn't get better sooner than other players? Because that's young age.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Right.
He's only what, 21, 22?
22,
no?
22.
Yeah.
Well, let's, we were talking earlier about coaching when we were talking about Chelsea. One of the coaching,
which by the way, Luis is a coach actually. He coaches too. So he doesn't only call games; he's actually coaching. He's on the sidelines coaching.
All right. Well, so we were talking about coaching, and earlier we were talking about Chelsea's coach, and Luis is giving us, his ideas of, what kind of coach he is, but really, I wanted to get into the U.S. men's national team coach because Jesse Marsch got fired over the weekend, and we were actually having a conversation on the show one week ago about this with our one of our guests, Chris Whittingham, and we had said that if he were he was at Leeds, that he would be the leading candidate. I hoped he wouldn't be. I can see Luis hopes he wouldn't be. I don't think Socio hopes he wouldn't be. I don't think Nico hopes he wouldn't be.
I think Socio wants Jesse Marsch to be a coach.
I'm all aboard for Jesse Marsch.
Oh, you are, right?
Team,
Well, I saw Luis shake his head and scream no. So I want to hear from him first. So what do you think, Luis? I think no Jesse Marsch, but who do you want to see?
The thing that Jesse did something good with Red Bulls, correct?
Yes.
So. But after that, the numbers didn't match of everything that he did before, and there were teams with a better players profile, players with higher caliber, and the egos and everything and the pressure because there were better teams, So now. I don't want him in the United States national team. The reason is because all these players in the U.S. national teams, they play at a higher level that he was coaching, playing at Juventus, playing at Chelsea, playing here, playing there. I think these players have a different mentality of how to win games, when to win games, and go to the extent to become better than what they are right now.
Yeah.
So
I
when
couldn't agree more with you.
when
Yeah,
we
I
had
couldn't.
a few weeks ago, should Berhalter continue in the national team? A lot of people said yes. A lot of people said no. I have my doubts. I think he did everything that he had to do with the U.S. national team. After Klinsmann left, what we saw a bunch of over 50 players that debuted with the U.S. national team. When Klinsmann, we had we can count it with one hand or two hands, maybe, because he didn't
that.
work.
We were still playing Michael Bradley's, Josie
Right.
Altidores, and all
So,
those.
but I think his time is up because I think Berhalter reached
His ceiling.
the roof and he can't go any further. So, as I mentioned before, these players in the U.S. national team are players that are very well coached. They're smart players. They have very physical strength and the will to win games and to play better and to show up and do this fancy tactics when the game is happening and make fans scream and yell and give them something to be happy about. And for that, I need a coach with a higher caliber. I think, they mentioned Bielsa. A lot of people say, well, he doesn't speak English. Well, he didn't speak English when he went to other teams.
It doesn't matter.
And he thrived in Leeds. He thrived in Leeds. And
But
Leeds,
the problem is, the U.S. men's national team won't hire from abroad.
True.
Last time we did that was El Klinsmann and...
But here's the other thing. What a lot of coaches don't have, what Bielsa does. Bielsa will continue to develop the U.S. national team thinking for the next 2 or 3 World Cups. Okay?
Yes.
If you don't bring a coach that has that mentality into the U.S. national team, then you're only going to hire a coach for the next World Cup and that's it. And then you're going to forget about for the next World Cup.
Yeah.
Hey,
Do you feel that this is the greatest generation of players that the U.S. has had?
Yes, it's the golden generation of U.S. soccer. Because as I mentioned before, Berhalter is responsible for about 50 kids that debuted in the U.S. national team, and the World Cup squad that we had in Qatar. Those kids, if we can just think about it, 20 years ago, you can count with 2 hands. What can I come up with 11 players that have the same level? Now you have 23, 25 players that they all have the same level to play and participate and be a starter in the U.S. national team.
Now, I've been hearing a few candidates. We talked about it. We talked about Marcelo Bielsa. Now that Jesse Marsch is out, he might be a candidate. We don't know because technically we don't even have a sporting director right now. So in order to make that decision, we first need to hire a sporting director to actually get a coach. Do you feel like and a GM? Do you feel like there will be a candidate within the MLS?
For the administration position?
No, for the coaching.
For the coaching.
Maybe a guy like Jim Curtin.
No, it's tough to say. I mean, the coach from Seattle, perhaps. I like him. I think he's a very good coach, and he doesn't have. Let me put it this way, so I don't insult everybody that I don't want to hear it. But he doesn't have the typical mentality of a U.S. coach. He's a more broad, open coach. With the international players that he's always bringing into his club to make his club better than others. That's why they win a lot of games. So he's a coach that is very broad, open. And I think that's what we need in the U.S. national team. Somebody that it will listen to players, that they can guide them to the next level, because these guys, they're already like I said, they already reached the top, the roof. So now they need to go up to the moon, and they have the talent, but they still need some work. For that, you need different types of work in progress and conditioning and methodology of training. In the US now, they're using a lot of technology and database and analysis and stuff like that. So there are very few coaches that are prepared with all that equipment and all that material that is needed. And I think Bielsa, because of his past being in England and in France, where they use a lot of this stuff, the technology, to be a modern coach, I think that will be very helpful.
But what about somebody who just had a terrible time just south of the border, who actually had a good time coaching in the MLS, Tata Martino? He could be a possible candidate. I mean, he's had his time in Europe. I mean, he's been mentioned as a possible candidate, but really the two main guys that we've heard have been Jim Curtin from Philadelphia, and also Giovanni Savarese, who coaches out in Portland, who's done a fantastic job out in Portland as well, with some of their international players coming in as well.
This may sound crazy, but because I know this coach, because I know how well prepared he is, I know how well trained he is, I think he will be very good for the U.S. national team. But nobody talks about it. Maybe because his team didn't do good last season, but it wasn't all his fault, because a lot of the players were injured and he had a lot of issues also with some other players. I think Pineda will be
Gonzo,
a good coach for the U.S. national team. He knows the system in the United States. He knows the system about Latin America. He knows the system. He played in World Cup. He was in national teams.
You don't feel like it might be? You don't feel like it might be a little contradicting, the fact that a Mexican national player, a legend in the national team, coaching a U.S. team for a World Cup that is going to be played in the U.S. and Mexico.
Hey, in Chile we had an Argentinian coach. So
that makes it an easier sell.
Yeah, but the rivalry isn't there. It's not like the same U.S. versus Mexico type of rivalry.
Nah, what are you talking about? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I had a conversation.
Argentina, Chile.
Okay. No.
Hey,
sorry.
Pineda, listen to this. Pineda was brought in by Berhalter to look, analyze, and advise the youth U.S. national teams at one time.
Oh, well, so he knows he has the edge there. However, I don't feel that he might be a candidate, and the reason why is because he doesn't have the credibility just yet, because his team didn't do so good. So maybe this season Alana does something.
You want to bring Marsh?
Well, I don't want to bring Marsh. People say that he's one of the candidates because he's been aboard, but the guy that I would actually consider bringing, and not because of his resume, but because of the style of play that he has, and because I feel like he might be a good coach to bring out the best in this type of players that we have. A guy that hasn't been spoken about, a guy named David Wagner, the Norwich coach. When he was in playing in the EPL with other teams, he was doing great, and the style of play that he has is very similar to coaches like Thomas Tuchel or coaches like Jurgen Klopp. He comes under that type of structure, and I feel like he's not being talked about, but it should be into consideration.
Don't be surprised if this issues with Manchester City, because this thing has to be resolved within the next 10 days. And if anything happens, remember what Pep Guardiola said yesterday in the press conference?
Yeah, that he will leave.
I'm leaving.
Yeah. You think Guardiola might be a coach? Do you think that Guardiola might want to take a job like that? If this is a big if he was available?
I think he's
not
time
immediately.
to coach a national team.
Yeah, I agree.
He wants to get a national team, huh?
I agree. I think he said it. He said it that he wanted to coach it, and I think even when Uruguay was looking for a coach, they had rumblings that he might be coaching or interested in coaching Uruguay. But I think
Yeah.
I think seeing as that the World Cup is in the United States, I think for Pep, if he becomes available, I think it's a very, very attractive position. You have a very young team, a talented team of a lot of players who play in the EPL, a league that you're currently have been coaching in for a while, and he has the chance to basically make history, with arguably like Luis said, the golden age of U.S. soccer. So
Yeah.
I think it's an attractive job for any coach out there. Um, let's see what happens. For hopefully for Uruguay, Pep doesn't come here, but we'll see.
Quick
But
one before we move on. Give me 1 second. That Alvaro brought up.
absolutely,
Whatever coach we bring, we need to land him Balogun.
Yes, yes.
We need to
That
land him
player has been
Balogun.
fantastic. That player
We
has been
need a
fantastic
9,
in
and
the
that's
League
the
One.
9 that we need. He's from New York, born over here. We gotta land that.
Arsenal Academy, huh? That's why you bring it up, right? That's why you bring it up.
Top of the league.
so we see. I see here in the comments one of our fans, one of our followers, is talking
Nicolas
about
Sutton.
something that Nico mentioned earlier back in the podcast.
Oof,
Is
oof. No, no, but we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that later. I want to keep
Okay.
going.
Towards the end.
I
Towards
want
the
to
end.
keep going with
All
them.
right.
Yeah, I
okay,
want to keep
because
going with the interview.
but I do want to talk to Luis about Inter Miami because we haven't gotten into it, and it's something that I love to talk about, and everybody knows I love to talk about. I'm very active on Twitter about how I feel about them. So now I'm curious. What do you feel about them, Luis?
Oof.
Yeah, wow, that's a big story, man.
How much time you got?
Because there's a lot of things that could be done better. One of the things that I can't understand, and I'm talking right now as a fan. Okay, why as a fan? Because I'm a season ticket holder, and I want to see the team win. I want every season ticket holder that sits around where I am. We all want the team to win. How do you win? You win games by bringing players that fall into the category of what the coaching staff requires. Do you bring players just because somebody is giving them to you, or you bring players because you really want to create something big? I question Martinez coming into Miami. Why did Atlanta let him go? If he continues to be a great player, will Pineda let him go?
That's a good topic. Yeah.
And here's the other thing. He had issues in Atlanta. Okay, the Inter Miami analyzed all the things that he was doing when he was in Atlanta. He had issues with the coaching staff. He had issues with some of the teammates. He has issues with the national team. So this is Miami. He had issues when he was in Atlanta. This is Miami, so that he may have bigger issues. So I really question sometimes the players that you're bringing in. Are you bringing them because their names, or you're bringing them because you want to create something big for the city and for the team? Okay, because there's a lot of people, a lot of us. We go to the games, whether they win, rain, sun. They play at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. We get our faces burned, our body burned. We get. I remember 2 years ago when we had the hurricane. My grandkids, my son-in-law, and I were at the stadium. Pouring rain, and the hurricane was coming through. That day that it was freaking raining like I never felt rain in my face before. So if we are those true followers, we want the team to be better. Okay, and how do you get better? You need to create a structure, and a structure that is good for the team, and that is good for the fans, and it's good for the city.
Yeah, so Luis, one of the things that I argue strongly about on Twitter, and then obviously on the show and amongst my friends is I don't really see that Inter has like a clear identity of what they want to do. They bring in some older obscure players from Europe, from Ukraine. I personally think that they should follow a model closer to that of maybe like Atlanta or like an Austin. Bring in a pipeline of young South American talent that is 19, 20, 21 years old, try to build them up and then sell them to Europe, kind of like Atlanta doing. That's what I want to see them do, because I feel like we can bring in some nice young Colombian players, some nice young Ecuadorian players, Argentinians. We tried to bring some of the Brazilians, but to me, Mota hasn't worked out, and Gregory really hasn't worked out either. But that's my opinion. To others, he has worked out. But
the
I just don't see that clear identity of what we want the team to be. They kind of just bring in just whatever players out there, and then you know they tell our coach, who really doesn't know what he's doing, here's 22 guys, figure it out. That's what I feel. And because of that, I haven't been to a game. The only game I've been to is the one at FIU, and I refuse to go to a game because of that.
You know, I'll give you an example, because I have friends also that work for the Galaxy or for the LAFC teams in the scouting area, and that's a key word, scouting. I think those two teams, Seattle, Portland, Atlanta, those teams, Austin, those are teams that they have people that they really do a lot of work. It's not the coaching staff, it's not administration, it's people that work in the scouting area of those clubs. Why are they always on top of everybody else? Why are they always going to finals? Why are they always winning the MLS Cup? Why is LA, the teams from there, that they're always on top of the standing? It's because they buy players and they bring players that they need for their system, for their identity of what they are. You know how Seattle plays. You know how Portland plays. You know how New York City plays. Okay? One time when New England Revolution was one of the best teams in the league, you knew how they played. That was like a DNA system that they brought players for that particular system. So why is it that Orlando, Pareja has a great, Luis Musi and all these people, they have something really good. I mean, since Pareja came into Orlando, the team is different. The team, everybody knows how the team plays, what the team wants, what is their goal, what is their vision. And I do question, the part of the sporting administration within Inter Miami, if they know what the culture, the identity of players that they should be playing in Inter Miami, because I don't want to see somebody from Ukraine playing here.
We're not going anywhere with Neville.
I don't want to see somebody from Eastern Europe playing here. You can go to South America, you can go to Central America, okay? And you can get players maybe spending less money, but how do you get that is by creating a sophisticated way of scouting players, okay? That's the job of the scouts. You need to start they need to start creating a better department. It's not that hard. You can create like a web of scouts and people feeding you information of what's available. Right now the MLS, one of the most important thing is to bring players under 22. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the cost is, but they'd rather go get somebody that costs $300,000 rather than paying $2 million and bringing a 22-year-old that plays in a national team, that play in Argentina, Brazil, and Chile, and Colombia, whatever. But then you go and spend $300 on a 30-year-old player
from the front lines
or where they play.
Yeah. Right. Now going back to because you named a few teams like Seattle, you named the Galaxy, and you named other style of play. And I wanted to raise this topic because we did bring a sporting director in Chris Henderson that has that type of structure. Do you feel like he's done the correct job so far, considering all the sanctions and all the bans that we've had, and the fact that he actually made playoffs? We made playoffs last year, it's a step ahead. We're actually thinking positive, things with Inter Miami. But do you feel like Chris Henderson has done a good job so far?
Well, I don't speak with Chris Henderson. I never had spoken with him directly. I've spoken with other executives of the club, But I don't think that all those big shot executives are happy with the sporting administration of the club, because sometimes they even question themselves, what are we doing or how are we doing it? So I don't know whether Chris Henderson has all the tools that he needs. It's the administration higher than him, giving him the tools that he needs to make the team even better. I don't know. What the only thing that I question, I remember as a fan right now, what I question is that I want to see a better team. If I'm gonna be a season ticket holder, spending all the money, and it's not just me, it's a bunch of us. We want to see a better team. We want to see the team closer to the fans,
connected to the community that we have, right?
People, it's like they're scared to be connected. Then they need to do something better, that to bring the fans and the community. They need to do more. I think it's limited what they do, and some of the things that they do is, in a way, being forced to do it. It doesn't come from the heart, unless you do something that you want to create something big for the community, something even bigger, because Inter Miami is big now. It's a big name. It's a professional sporting club, so it's big. But you need to make something bigger. Okay, the club. Listen, you go to the Marlins, the stadium is empty. You go to the Dolphins, it's half empty. Okay, I think the only one at times, only maybe when LeBron James comes into town, they fill it in, is the Miami Heat. So let's not do the same thing. Let's bring in the community. We need to get closer together. The youth development has to be better. Everything. There's a lot of things that I would love to talk to other people so they can listen and understand that there's a lot of things that we can do together as fans, as everybody, as a community, and make the team better.
All right, Luis. Well, we want to really thank you for being on and sharing your thoughts with us, and we hope you'll come back on in the future, and maybe even for a Spanish episode that we film later on in the week. So we want to thank you very much. Honestly, I don't know who you know in Inter de Miami, but you can let them know that if they need a scout, I'm available. And that's not a joke. That's not a joke. I know Uruguayan soccer, Argentinian soccer, and Ecuadorian soccer like this. So if they need young players from there, I mean, I can recommend all day. But we want to again. Oh, what was that?
Listen, they don't even pay attention to me, and I have a certificate from MVP in Barcelona.
Well, thank you again for coming on. And right before you go, one last quick question. We want to know what's the favorite nickname that you've ever given to a player?
Jar Jar Binks. To Ronaldinho.
Muy bueno.
Remember when Ronaldinho came to Paris Saint-Germain for the first time? He had the big long hair, and when he started celebrating the goals, he was going like this, and shaking his head. So I nicknamed him Jar Jar Binks because the big muñeco, every time he gets
and his teeth, That's a good one.
One last one from one of our fans. What nickname are we gonna give Joseph? Are we gonna call him Arepa?
Arepero.
Hey, again, I don't know, man.
It's gonna be a hard one, huh? It's gonna be a hard one.
See.
Hopefully he scores goals for him to actually get nicknames.
Last one, Luis, so you're a witness. Nico said Joseph this season bags 15 goals or more this season.
That's what I think.
In FIFA?
Thank you.
We'll see.
Luis,
We'll see.
You've been a great guest.
How are you going to score? How is he going to score 15 goals when you need a playmaker?
Thank you. And he's on his way to Turkey right now.
We have Pizarro. What do you mean, player?
Pintarro.
Please.
You're gonna get him mad and he's not gonna come back.
All right, Luis, thank you so much. We'll let you go before you get into any trouble.
Hey,
Dale,
man,
Luis.
tomorrow I'm gonna do the Real Madrid game, so don't worry about it.
A la
All right,
Madrid.
we'll hear you tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
All right,
Luis. Thank you. We
Y
appreciate it.
Alexis. Yeah, Alexis Sanchez right there, papá.
No, que Alexis.
No. Bueno, para otro día entonces.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you.
Yes.
Grande, Luis.
Yeah, gracias.
Oh man,
Whatever.
Oh, man, what a
that was
great
a
guy.
great,
What
that
a
was a
great guy.
great guest, man. Great guest.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Good interview. Good interview. A lot of topics too,
Great
Great
man. A lot of
questions.
topics.
Great questions in the comment section,
Yeah,
guys. Good
absolutely. Hey,
I was surprised. I was surprised about the inter topics. You know, like he went hard on them. He went.
I
really
love
hard
it,
on
but
them.
that's how it has to be, man. We love our club, but people take it bad that we're a little negative. Yeah, we're negative, but it's because we want better. We need a better product. Yo, we're a big team market, and look what we're putting out on the field. It's disgusting. Pisado.
Yeah, good one, Miami-Dade soccer.
Sí,
Really
grande
good one.
Miami-Dade.
yeah.
Pisado.
But I agree with you, Socio, man, and that's why I go hard on the team on Twitter.
Yeah,
Everybody
no, I
knows
completely
it's not
understand you.
it's not because I hate the team. I'm more of a fan than anybody. Look, I was at Disney this weekend, and I was wearing the pink, the pink
Yeah.
shirt that never wears on
Yeah.
the sidelines. I was
Sí, sí,
wearing
sí.
it out there. I was repping it. I love Inter Miami.
Don
I just want us
Cafecito,
to
you're
have.
hearing this, right?
I want.
He
I want
loves
to
it.
have. I want to have a good team, man. I want to go out there and cheer for a good team, and I want us to have a fun time out there in the North End, with the fireworks and the smokes and whatever it is. So we, just to tease a little something on my part. I might be attending a game this year.
Whoa, that's
You
a
heard
big
it here
surprise.
first. You heard it.
That's a big surprise.
Where's Don
I'm-
Cafecito?
The biggest hater, the biggest
Hey.
hater about to attend the game.
You heard it here first.
You might want to put this on the big screen, Nico,
Put it on
so
the
you can get a
ticker.
nice little clip here. But I
Clip
will
it, clip it.
I will drop it. I will drop it that I will be at opening night this year.
Whoa,
Let's go.
I
That's
will be at
the
opening
25th,
night.
no?
Yes, sir. Saturday,
Alright,
February
alright.
25th against
I'll be
CF
there.
Montreal.
I'll be there. I'll be there as a witness. I'll be there as a witness.
I will be there, and I have a little something cooking with Vice City, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. So a lot of hints coming from Solana tonight.
whoa.
I love Don Cafecito. I love
we
Don
love Don
Cafecito.
Cafecito here on TIFF.
Don Cafecito.
We love everyone that comments. We love everyone that follows us.
Yeah,
Man.
yo.
Don
It's
Cafecito.
great. It's great to see people subscribe.
Yeah.
Don't forget
Honestly-
to subscribe, by the way.
Yeah,
Give us that
subscribe.
like, people. Share
comment with
to your
us on
people, let 'em
Twitter.
know.
Comment with us on Instagram. We're not afraid of the banter. We're not afraid of just talking about soccer. That's what we like to do.
Man, you know what this week had me thinking? And it's mainly watching today's game, and I want to get a little bit off topic. I was watching the game today, FA Cup, Wrexham against Sheffield United, the replay. And man, it almost made me feel like people here in the States almost watch Wrexham over our own MLS teams. They almost get hyped and excited about a team that it's playing in fourth division in England over their own MLS teams.
They
I
got the
don't know
owner of Boost Mobile.
how can you translate that?
Marketing. Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Deadpool, right? Is that
Ryan
why
Reynolds,
people watch it? Is that why people watch it and they get excited over
Yeah, bro.
watching an MLS
have you
team?
not been watching? I mean, well, it also helps. They have the series, the Wrexham series.
It helps.
Come on, bro.
It helps.
That feeds into our American blood system. Give me a series, and a whole bunch of people become fans, bro.
Yeah.
That's why
Well,
a little
well,
bit. Go.
Now the MLS is going to start doing that type of content as well.
Yeah, my boy read my
so we'll
mind.
see.
That's why we
We'll-
do this.
Exactly. We'll
That
see
Apple
how it goes.
Plus thing, I saw it. They're doing like little behind the scenes. Each club is gonna. It might
They're
be
going to have their
they need
little
to do-
stories.
Yeah, they need to do something like what Formula One did with the Drive to Survive and Netflix. I mean, I think if MLS does something like that, where you can get so far behind the scenes and we can see somewhat of the rivalries like between the GMs and kind of how you see like, and I don't mean
almost like
the series, but-
almost like the Arsenal one, and
Absolutely, absolutely.
right?
You know,
Which one was? How was that called? How was that
All or
series
nothing.
called?
The
All or nothing.
one.
All or nothing. But
yeah, yeah,
on MLS,
yeah.
that'd be great.
Yeah, something like that would be fire,
That'd be
bro.
great.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
and
but
I think
Apple's got
I,
money.
I
That
I
has to
think
be in the
that's
works.
I think that's what the fans really really want is they want to be inside the team. They want to feel like they're a part of the team, and I think that's what the MLS lacks, and I think that's what Inter Miami lacks. They do a really good job with the marketing and sending out their videos
Great
and sending
point.
out their
Great point.
tweets and it's fantastic and I love it and it's really really good. It is really really good, but
yeah.
it doesn't make me feel like I'm a part of the team. Like it doesn't make me feel like I want to go to the stadium. Like give me something that makes me want to go to the stadium.
Shout out to you, Fede. That's the
The
CEO
red
of
eye gunner.
KGL.
Yeah.
That's the CEO
I
of
want to shout out. I
KGL.
want to shout out to my kid Enzo. He's watching. He's watching at home.
Hey,
All right.
Enzo, that's
Hey,
my
Enzo.
nephew. I love you,
Hey,
brother.
dale, Ento.
All right, guys. All right. Before we ended up,
Almost forgot. There's people here waiting.
I needed to tell. Yeah, I see a
Yeah,
few
I
people
was
that
by
have
I was
asked
about to
already.
wrap it up. I was about to wrap it up, and my
This
our
is-
poor boy,
I hope-
Nicolas, we were gonna
I
leave
hope
him on
Nicholas
hold.
Sutton's
Yeah.
still here.
All right.
He
So
was dying to
Fabricio, it's Fabricio Romalo time, right?
Fabricio Romalo time, let's go.
All right.
That's
all right.
right.
We gotta get
Le-
music.
Yesterday, it was about 1 p.m. I get a phone call and I start talking to someone that has a few contacts, a former player. Um, he knows a few people in Europe. And as we were talking, we get into the topic of summer signings, who's gonna go where, who's gonna go here and there, and we start talking about Inter Miami all of a sudden. And when we start talking about Inter Miami, he actually tells me that he knows a player that he directly asked him about a property almost next to his house. This guy's already looking at places to live in Miami. So we can almost say that this player is gonna be playing in Inter Miami, right? I mean, if you're looking for a home, here, you're not retired yet, you're actually thinking of coming to play.
He's not gonna make an empanada stand out here.
I can't say that this is confirmed that he's gonna be an Inter Miami player,
Rumors, you know how rumors work.
but
guys.
I'm ready to give out the name. The guy is willing to come here. He wants to finish off his few years that he has left in his career. He's only 34, so
Cafecito.
he has a few.
Hey, this guy. With
It's
the
gonna
dildo.
be the DP. It's gonna be the DP. The DP that we have left. We only have one DP left. We were looking into that the other day. I don't know who has the discover rights to this player, so we will have to find that out because we will have to pull some strings. You know how it works in the MLS. But the player that Inter Miami is willing to bring, and the guy actually wants to come and play for the city, is Alexis Sanchez.
Oh! I personally like that one.
He was great in Barcelona. He was great in Serie A when he played
great at
in
Arsenal.
Udinese and Inter Milan. He was great at Arsenal. Not so great in Manchester United. He had a little bit of issues there. He had a little bit of issues with the coaching staff, and he's doing great right now in Marseille.
Play the piano.
Play the piano for them. Now there is a little bit. It's going to be a little tricky because he has an option for next season. So we don't know if he's either going to take that option and say, "Okay, I'll stay one more year in Europe," or he actually commits himself to actually come here right off the bat. So that's a player that I was given.
It's a rumor, bro.
I was given by my contact. My source, the source that I'm telling you.
Nah, don't give out the.
The source that I'm telling you has great togetherness with this player. They've shared Christmas together. They shared vacations together. So this guy knows.
I'll take him.
All right.
I think that would be a fantastic signing for Inter Miami. What do you guys think?
Danny's not that excited.
Yeah,
it's gonna come, Socio. It's coming. If he's not a Uruguay player, Danny doesn't like him.
Look, man.
Look. I'm not gonna lie.
Had that.
I'm not excited, but I'm curious to see if we bring him, does that mean we're gonna play 3 up top? And does that mean Alexis plays on the left?
How wide? Right.
Yeah,
Campana,
right.
Campana plays your 9,
Puro
and
huevo.
Joseph plays on the right. That's what I'm curious to see. Or maybe Joseph is the backup. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Do I love the signing? No. Do I hate the signing? No. You know, we'll see.
4-3-3, exactly.
We'll see.
I think I mean,
I'll take him.
you also gotta consider what we lack, and I feel like we lack that one-on-one type of player on the wings.
We lost him because we were using him as a right wing back,
Yeah.
my boy, and now he's balling in Red Bulls.
Luis Morgan. Yep.
I wasn't gonna say his name because it breaks my heart, but yeah, my boy.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
a fantasma. Hey, shout out to you, Caro. Thank you.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
boys.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap up episode 4. So, we talked to Luis Omar Tapia. We want to thank him so much for being on.
What a guy, bro. Legend.
Unbelievable,
Legend.
unbelievable. We talked Champions League. We talked Inter Miami. We talked U.S. men's national team. We talked our moment of the weeks. I think we'd run out of topics to talk about. So
City's getting relegated.
Whoa.
let's
That's
you know
later,
let's
though. Yep.
That's not gonna happen. You know that's not gonna happen.
Not right now. Not right now. Not relegation, but they will lose points in the future. Not for this season.
I'll give you my take on that. They're gonna take 5 years to actually give them $20 million or euros or pounds ban.
They have Better Call Saul as their lawyer. They're not gonna.
That's it.
Ridiculous.
Nothing's gonna happen
but I
to
think
City.
but I think something will happen, bro. There's
Nothing's
no way
gonna
you let
happen to
9 years and you just They have something
Absolutely
has to happen,
not.
dog. Something I think something happens.
They have too much power.
I feel
Right,
you.
man.
That gold money is serious, pero I think something happens. Not this season though. Not this season. This season we're taking it tranquila.
Epa. You already declaring yourself a champion?
Nah,
Can
I
we
said
say?
taking
Can
it
we say that
tranquila,
live?
top four.
Can we say that live? Can we say that live,
We're
sir?
taking
Can
top
we-
4 tranquilo.
Let's get some
Top four
receipts.
tranquilo.
Can we put the banner? Underneath there?
Top four.
Can
Yo,
we put the
don't we gotta
banner
close
there?
this out? Don't we gotta close this out? Hey, it was
Oh, now
great.
he's
Luis
getting
Omar
a little-
Tapia.
Now he's
You're the
getting a little
man, bro.
nervous.
You're the
Now he's
man,
getting a little
bro.
nervous. But I think we should close this out. So for Nico, for Socio, I'm the bad guy. Good night.
Always a bad guy.
I'm the good guy.
Always a bad guy.
Say goodbye.
Come on, Liverpool. Let's bring it back.
Rebuild.
Oh man. What a tough time to be a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, bye-bye. Back to
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone that showed up.
Thank you,
We
guys.
appreciate you guys.
Keep watching.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Entrando a la cancha con toda la tropa, como 11